when Cher asked you the question in the beginning, you immediately went to your phone to check and make sure, in your words, you weren't being a dick and not responding. You had to check in with yourself. Do you think that is also kind of spotlighted in your generation? That, do you guys feel like you're being clumped in a category of, well, here's how this generation is, here's how the Gen Zs are, here's how the millennials just are? Do you feel that, or is that your own stuff?
I think that there is like a sense of accountability that is now present more so than ever, simply because I'm able to, in the middle of this conversation, be like, no, I have it right here. So I think that it truly is a spotlight on this like of progression towards like having everything available towards us. So I do think it's a generational thing. And I think it's funny because like while my aunt was here for my graduation, she like we were taking a picture and she was like, oh, I have to have the middle or like the middle part so I don't look like a millennial or whatever. And I do think that there's something that's quite prevalent of the different generations and why some of these miscommunications are happening because it instills in us versus them concept, in my opinion.
Yeah. I felt I had to check in with my boyfriend after we got back from Portugal because I was feeling guilty that I didn't see you more while I was there. But then there was this weird side of me, like I didn't want to like impose on you while I was there too. It's like, oh, I don't want to just like spend the whole time there. And I want to just, of course, see the country. And so I was feeling guilty, like, should have I spent more time? Should we have communicated better that you wanted me there longer or something like that? Because I was like, maybe I was feeling like, oh, I just went there and said hi, bye. And I didn't really like, I don't know.
It's almost like
So
the people make the joke about like Catholic guilt, but it's almost like a generational guilt of like, oh, did I do this right? Am I doing something wrong? Like, I don't want to be too much, but I also don't want to be too little.
Well,
yeah.
Leah, what made you question that? Did Lisa send you an email or something that made you start questioning it, that you had to check in with your boyfriend?
Yeah, there was like, I think it was just like, I didn't, I felt like we could have, or there was something said like, oh, I felt like we were going to spend more time together. And, um, so we made the effort to like spend an early Thanksgiving together and things like that. But there was this like, were we supposed to spend more time together? I don't know what was our expectations. We didn't really talk about that while we were there. We kind of just all of a sudden I was there. Like the time just came and I was there and yeah. So there
That's
was
that's
that
interesting.
aspect.
I think it was all the above.
Yeah.
I was so excited for you guys to explore as much as you possibly could. You only had 3 months.
Yeah.
You were there for a week in the beginning and then you were off. I mean, just like a kid would just come in and then go off and explore. And that's
Yeah.
what I want. And so my comments at the end were, well, let's have a Thanksgiving on Sunday because all of us are going to miss Thanksgiving because we were traveling and you were traveling. So let's do something that's like holiday-ish. And we found Sunday to do that and spend time together. And then my comment of, oh my gosh, you're leaving already. I feel like you just got here. Um, I mean, that was real and authentic too. It feels like,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't have changed it. I wouldn't have put you in my box to keep you around longer for when it's convenient for me because I don't have time. I'm busy.
Right.
I mean, I didn't have
Yeah.
time to cook for you or anything like that. So, I mean, it's really just, and I think our generations come from a place of really, okay, and please don't take this the wrong way, of having an understanding, more empathy and compassion. Okay, so here's what I mean by that. I call my mom, she drives me insane. I too have to make sure I'm at that higher frequency, that higher calibration to make sure that I can deal with some of the things that she will just say, which are just bizarre and have nothing to do with nothing. And sometimes I lose it and I'm harder on her. And when I get off the phone, I'm disappointed in myself because I could have done better. When when I'm at like, an 8 or a 9 and I can show up for her with just empathy and compassion and just let her talk about absolutely nothing, which I know she needs to do. And, just really hold that open space for her. it's the greatest elixir of life, is that experience of having compassion and empathy for somebody. I mean, you just feed on it. But here's a reality of the time that we're living in. I think we pass that up because technology seems like it's evolving faster than even our morals are. In 1945, human knowledge was doubling at the rate of every 25 years. On average now, it's doubling every 12 hours. That's a fast world. And it sometimes it feels to me like when I'm in my higher self, I feel like we're trading in compassion and empathy for efficiency. And that's what we give up. You know, we're losing this ability to be human. Now, your younger generations, you only know this technology. You don't, you too, I hear you turning off your phone and unplugging, and that's great. But for a lot of younger generations, they just can't escape it. And they're just victims to those notifications. You know, I recently added the blog to the website, and I wrote an article about our grandparents becoming extinct because of artificial intelligence. And I think that's something we have to realize is we're in a world of artificial intelligence right now, and we can't tell what's what from what. We don't know real from false anymore. We have no idea. And that's why it's so important for us to dial into our IA, infinite intelligence. Did I say that right? And really just dial into who we are so that we don't take these things personally. So to me, it feels like empathy and compassion. I want to know you're okay. I'm checking in. But to you guys, it feels like, you know, a parent who's like, oh, maybe you're disappointing. And we only have a few minutes left. I really want to throw this out because being reunited with my daughter and it being as easy and wonderful as it has been, you know, I got to a place where I just love my life so much. And I was only expressing from that place. There was no more. It wasn't, because I got to do it to you guys. So with my daughter, there was no more of this guilt tripping or, you know, whatever else in my communication. It didn't exist there. Even the frequency didn't exist there anymore. And when she came back around, she said, I don't want to be mad anymore. I don't want to rehash the past. It's been so nice just talking to you. Let's just keep emailing. So because she is so busy, so she's 29, she's right in the middle of you guys. She's so busy. She will write and then I'll write her right back because I have more time. And then it will take her 3 weeks to respond. And in that time, I'm like, okay, well, 3 weeks, what's going on? You know, at first I was like, okay, did something just change? Did she have a change of heart? You know, is she done already? Is she going no contact already? And, you know, if you go into these parental groups, you read that, oh, your kids, they'll come back, but then they'll just do it again. They'll estrange you again. They'll go no contact. Don't let them in. Don't let them in. If I was in those groups buying into that, I may have been tempted to reach out to her and say, what? I thought we were talking. I thought we were back. I thought we were good. But instead it was just like, no, just letting go. I'm opening up a space for a new relationship to happen that I don't know what it looks like because she's an adult now. And 3 weeks later, she writes back and says, oh, I have a new email address. Mom, please use this one. She gives me this long email. She sends me all these photos. It's fantastic. So I write back and it's just this wonderful exchange. And we have our old familiar bantering and humor going. And it's just really great. And then another 3 or 4 weeks goes by and I don't hear from her. And then she responds with this, again, amazing email. Nothing is wrong. I responded right back and I just said, I really want to write to you and say more, but I want to take 2 weeks off for the holidays. So give me some time to do it. No worries, Mom. Merry Christmas. It's just a busy, crazy time. Don't worry about it. It took me a month to respond to her because I was busy. And I was like, this is what it is. It's just, I'm loving my life. I'm busy. I've got so many things that I want to do because I'm so happy. I'm so inspired. And it's like, I've got to get back to that email. I've got to respond to her. but
Right.
that's the
Like,
space.
8 days. It didn't feel like 8 days.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the space. So
I find it
we've
very
got to,
interesting that when we're the ones who are busy and like everything, it's like, oh my gosh, like I have to do this. But then when we're expecting it from somebody else, it's like, well, I haven't heard from them immediately, so something must be wrong. So it's funny, the duality of it.
it's the same. It's the same. If an estranged adult child will say the exact same thing as an estranged parent and vice versa. So the next time you hear or read something that really gets you going, put yourself on the other side of it and see if you can say the same thing.
Yeah.
I know Dr. Ruth sent me a video last week and she was like, oh, I resonate with this. This is exactly how I feel. But it was justifying her side. And I said, but they feel that way too. I mean, no matter what side you're on, you can hear these stories that you're supposed to hear through target marketing. It knows how to target you and push those buttons. And again, part of empathy and compassion is putting yourself in the other person's shoes to see where they're coming from.
Yeah.
Thoughts, comments? I'll share with you the community for anybody who wants to stay on and wants information about that. But what are your final comments on that? And as far as taking things personally or having a set schedule that somebody's not meeting?
I think, yeah, just checking in and seeing the other side, like you said, and just taking that moment. So,
I think giving yourself a reality check is also important. Like similar, I'll bring it back to mine and shares interaction of just like pulling it up and being like, wait, what? Giving yourself that reality check of like, it's not that long or it's not that bad or like, there's nothing that truly is wrong. People are just living their lives. You know, like you said, 2 weeks and then it was a month. So it's never the silence and the space doesn't always equate to anger and like strife.
Yeah.
I think there's also value in, I've learned a lot from Aaliyah and Jillian today about how they prefer to communicate. And I think having this, being able to do a face-to-face and have a back and forth conversation instead of, there's so much that gets lost in emails and texts. And so I think it's real important to have face-to-face time and ask questions of each other, share your concerns so that you can get things cleared up right away. And I feel like we did today.
yeah.
Which is a very healthy way to communicate.
Yeah.
It might be easier for us because like we're in this estrangement thing. This is a specific, focused, particular event that we are doing. So if we don't ask the tough questions and say what's honestly on our mind, then we're not helping anybody. We're not helping ourselves. We're not helping anybody else. So this is an arena it's almost easier to ask the questions. It's almost expected of us, I think.
I think it's very brave that we do this, just simply because we have asked that hard question. And in my mind, when I was asked like about the guilt trip, I wasn't going to bring up how I felt because I didn't want to like hurt Cher's feelings or anything or make it feel like I was picking on anybody. But then in my mind, I was also like, if someone's not going to say it, like nobody's going to say it. Nobody's going to like be able to hack out or understand. So in a way, yeah, I do agree. It is expected to be brutally honest and truthful.
Yeah.
We have to be here.
Yeah, we have to. It's important. Cher, were you going to say something?
No.
All right. And I want to comment right now. Okay, we have the luxury of being able to talk once a month, the third Saturday of every month at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. We have the luxury of doing this and working through this. But for a parent who doesn't have the luxury of working through this with their child because it's a phase of no contact, then that means it's just a period of no contact. That's what it means. Let them go. I let my daughter go for 2 years. I let her go for 2 years. I didn't want her. It took me a while to realize this. I don't want her in my box. I want her out there becoming her own woman, figuring life out, making it on her own. That's 100% what I want. The only way I'm going to have that is to let her go. And so with Jillian and Aaliyah, and I've met both of them in person, and they're both lovely people. It's the same thing. It's like, I love being involved in your lives. You guys are so cool. But I also just appreciate you just being who you are out in this crazy world right now, and bringing literally to the round table your experiences and just talking to us. I mean, that's in itself is huge. So thank you all very much.